Hurricane Helene, a powerful Category 4 storm, slammed into the southeastern United States with unprecedented force. It brought with it devastating winds reaching up to 140 miles per hour, uprooting trees and sending debris flying through the air. The storm made landfall, leaving a trail of destruction in its wake, with buildings reduced to rubble and streets turned into rivers. Coastal communities faced the brunt of Helene's fury, with homes and businesses severely damaged or completely destroyed. The storm surge caused significant flooding, swallowing homes and businesses, and turning once bustling streets into waterways. The storm weakened as it moved inland, but it was far from over. However, it continued to unleash torrential rain and powerful winds, causing further damage to already vulnerable areas. This led to widespread flooding and damage far from the coast, affecting rural areas and small towns. Helene's impact was felt across multiple states, with each region experiencing its own unique challenges. Florida, Georgia, and the Carolinas all experienced its destructive power, with communities coming together to rebuild in the aftermath. Hurricane Helene first struck the Florida coast. The Big Bend area experienced its strongest hurricane on record. Coastal towns were particularly hard hit. The storm surge inundated streets and homes. The force of the water ripped apart buildings and tossed vehicles like toys. The storm's impact was immediate and devastating. Power lines snapped, plunging communities into darkness. Communication networks were disrupted, isolating people from loved ones and emergency services. The sound of the wind howling and the crashing of debris created a terrifying symphony of destruction. As Helene moved inland, it dumped massive amounts of rain. Rivers and streams overflowed, transforming streets into raging torrents. The flooding was particularly severe in low-lying areas and near bodies of water. Homes were submerged, with floodwaters reaching rooftops in some cases. The storm left a trail of destruction in its wake. Buildings were reduced to rubble, trees uprooted, and vehicles tossed aside. The economic impact was significant, with businesses forced to close and homes destroyed. The cost of rebuilding after Helene promised to be astronomical. Section 4. Heroic efforts, rescue missions and community support. As the storm raged, first responders sprang into action. They braved treacherous conditions to rescue those trapped by floodwaters and debris. Boats became lifelines, navigating flooded streets to reach stranded residents. Helicopters plucked people from rooftops, offering a glimmer of hope amidst the devastation. Stories of heroism emerged from the chaos. Neighbors helped neighbors, sharing food, water, and shelter. Volunteers flocked to affected areas, offering assistance with cleanup and recovery efforts. The spirit of resilience and community shone through the darkness. Section 5. Preparing for the storm evacuations and safety measures. In the days leading up to Helene's arrival, authorities issued dire warnings about the potential devastation. Evacuation orders were put in place for vulnerable coastal areas, urging residents to leave immediately. People heeded the calls, seeking safety in shelters or with loved ones further inland, often leaving behind cherished belongings. The roads were jammed with evacuees, a somber reminder of the storm's impending threat, as families tried to escape the danger. Those who stayed behind took every precaution they could. They boarded up windows, secured loose objects, and stocked up on essential supplies like water, food, and fuel. The eerie calm before the storm was a time for final preparations and anxious anticipation, as everyone braced for Helene's impact. Section 6, picking up the pieces, aftermath and the road to recovery. As the storm passed and the floodwaters receded, the true extent of the damage became clear. Streets were submerged, homes were inundated, and the landscape was forever altered. Communities were left to pick up the pieces, facing the daunting task of rebuilding their lives and their homes. Volunteers from near and far arrived to lend a helping hand, showing the strength of human compassion. The recovery process promised to be long and arduous. Rebuilding homes, restoring infrastructure, and healing emotional wounds would take time and effort. The aftermath of Hurricane Helene served as a stark reminder of the power of nature. The destruction was vast, and the scars left behind were deep. It also highlighted the resilience of the human spirit. In the face of such adversity, people found strength in unity and support. As communities came together to support one another, there was a sense of hope amidst the devastation. Neighbors who had never spoken before now worked side by side. The road to recovery would be long, but with determination and unity, they would rebuild. The spirit of togetherness and the will to overcome would guide them through the challenging times ahead.